What's the secret to building a large audience and email list? It may not happen overnight, but there are some key strategies that you can rely on to help you build long-term growth of your audience and email list. First, I want to talk to you about the things you need to know to transform that audience and your relationship into sales. Next, I want to explain how your competitors can actually help you build your audience. And then I want to show you the number one way to be seen as the expert in your niche. And then we'll finish off by going through my number one tip for exploding the popularity of your email list. Let's first talk about the things you need to know about your audience and how that's going to translate into sales. Of course, in any business that you're in, no matter your industry or niche, you need to know the specifics about your demographic. Who are they, their gender, their age range, where they're located, their interest, what keeps them up at night, what are their pain points, all of those things, because that's going to be so important to your messaging and how you relate to your audience, the stories that you tell, the hooks that you write, the headlines that you display on your funnels. That's going to be so important because your audience needs to know that you understand them and that what you're going to provide them with, the solution, whatever your product or service is going to help them. A way that you can get that data and information is by doing an ask campaign. And in an ask campaign, you're basically asking your audience, what do you need? Tell me about you. And so there's some questions that you can add into there about what are their pain points? What keeps them up at night? If you could wave a magic wand and solve a problem for them, what would that be? Now, one of the ways that I recommend launching an ask campaign is that I don't want to just say, hey, here's this survey. Would you mind filling it out? I don't know about you, but when I get a survey and someone asks me to fill it out, it's pretty low priority to me compared to maybe other work I might have on my plate, or maybe just wanting to spend time with my friends and family. Filling out a survey for someone else, especially if I don't have that much of a relationship with them, isn't that important to me. However, if we were incentivized, that would probably change the game a little bit, right? So how can you also incentivize your audience if you want to ask them questions? Because really, this is providing you value. However, we know that it's help me so I can help you, because the more value, the more data you know, you're going to be able to cater your message exactly to their needs. One of the things I'd recommend is if you want to incentivize them, maybe you offer them something in exchange for filling out this survey or this form that's going to give you information. As an example, one time I did, hey, would you mind filling out this survey? And in exchange, I'm going to give you free access to my course that I valued at $47. And with that, they were excited about that. They felt incentivized. We really showed the value of the course I was going to give them access to and said, this will only take you 5 minutes. Pretty worth it, right? So how can you incentivize your audience so that you can get that data? Now, the next thing you want to do once you have that data is be able to compile all that information and understand the language that they're speaking in. And not only that, but to use that language back to them. If they're saying specifically what they hope to achieve, whether it's in their health or wealth or relationships, use the exact way that they're wording it in your copy or in the way that you communicate back to them. If they're saying things like, I want to feel more confident in my body, I want to be closer to my spouse, I want to explode my business conversions, use those exact words. Don't try to translate them into something else. Someone saying, I want to explode my business conversions might be different than, hey, I want to add momentum to your bottom line. That might not be the language that they're speaking. They want to hear exactly what in their brain they're saying that they want. And if you can speak that back to them, they feel like, this person gets me. And you do, because you've understood, you've listened to exactly what they're saying, and now you're using that same language back to them. I'd love to know if you can tell me in the comments below, what are some of the most successful things that you've done to be able to get data from your audience? Maybe did you give them a survey? Did you make a Facebook post? How did it work for you? Share with us. Maybe we'll be able to get some ideas from each other. So please go to the comments below and share with us. I'd love to hear it. Next, this is kind of fun. Let's talk about how your competitors can actually help you grow your audience. Now, I want to caution you before I go into this. This is not to set you up for playing a comparison game, because I don't want you to look at your competitors and think, well, they have this and I don't, or their audience is this and I'm like, that is not what I'm telling you to do. What I want you to do is go look at the other people in your industry and look at the other people who are not in your industry. Look at just people who are doing well on the platforms that you're on, or who are doing well with and engaging an audience in a way that you want to do so, and learn from them. What's working? What's not? There's lots of situations in life, in business, where we see something that's working that we can take pieces of and implement ourselves. And we can also observe things that we go, ooh, that's a good lesson in what not to do. So what I'm recommending you do is take inspiration from successful people, whether they are your direct competitors or other people in a similar industry. I actually learned a lot from a guy online who was a dating coach, and I really liked some of his strategies for how he'd speak to his audience, that he could really dial into the pain points that the women that he was speaking to would have, and how he turned that into stories and turned that into sales pitches. I learned that so much from a dating coach. My industry has nothing to do with dating, although I can use some fun analogies about dating your audience, and that can relate, but we're not selling any sort of service that aligns. However, I learned so much from his strategies. So I want to keep you open to that you can be looking at people who are doing well, take inspiration. I'm not saying copy, do not copy other people's work, but see what's working and how you can maybe take pieces of that to implement in your stuff. Now that you know how you can take inspiration from the successful people, I also want to talk to you about how to set yourself apart as the undeniable leader in your niche. The best way for you to build a large audience is by positioning yourself as the expert, as the go-to. And of course, there's going to be competitors, there's going to be other people in this space, but you have something that they don't, even if you don't know it yet. And what I want to encourage you to create is your own proprietary mechanisms, your own systems and strategies that are different than what anyone else has created. Now, you might use some of the same tactics, but the way you teach it through your stories, your strategies, your systems is going to be different than anyone else. Let me give you an example. I teach content marketing. I teach marketing and sales, and there's lots of people that do that. However, what I teach that's different is my content cash flow system. You can only learn the content cash flow system from me. Sure, you can learn video marketing and content marketing from tons of other people, and they probably have other strategies too. But when you hear content cash flow system, maybe that perks some interest and you want to learn that. Another example is my friend Christy Code Red. She's a weight loss coach, and weight loss is a very saturated industry. However, she has her Code Red 10-pound takedown. The name of that is pretty intriguing, right? It shows you this result that you can get in a short time span, and that is proprietary to her. I have another client that went from being a mindset coach, which there's lots of mindset coaches, and now his system that he teaches, he gave a name to it, his mental endgame activation system. See how just by taking your strategy, giving a name to it, creating your own framework for how you develop it, how you teach it, how you give it to your audience, that's what's going to set you apart. And by having that unique mechanism, that's going to grow your audience and have your current audience raving about you so that they're reaching their friends and family and bringing them to you too. So create your proprietary and unique mechanisms. Before we get into the number one tip for exploding the popularity of your email list, this information is only for subscribers. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? Got it? All right, next, here is the number one tip for exploding the popularity of your email list. Your email list, this is your pot of gold. You own your email list. Yes, you may be on other social media platforms. Maybe you have a big following on Facebook, a big Facebook group, an Instagram following, YouTube, but you don't own those platforms. And if something were to happen, that platform disappeared or your account got shut down, you would lose that. It would just be gone tomorrow. But your email list you own. You have the ability to reach your audience through the emails that you send that will land in their inbox. Now, of course, there's different factors to will they actually open that email that you send them? Will they click on it? Will they read it? That has to do with your copywriting, your subject lines, but you know that you're going to reach your audience that way. You can post something on Facebook and more than half of your audience doesn't see it because of the algorithms and because of the other competition on there. But your email list, you own. So let's talk about exploding your email list. The way to do that is by having, we call them lead magnets or freebies. These are things that people can opt into your email list, and as a thank you for signing up for your email list, you give them this free thing. So let's say they sign up for an ebook or a checklist or a video series that they get access to, but only when they put their email in first. Of course, they have to put in their email for you to deliver it to them. But now that you have that email address, you can continue to nurture that relationship through weekly emails, through a newsletter, through an email series, and that's what's going to also not just explode your email list, but also explode your sales. Now that you know how to grow your audience, what if I told you that you can now ascend that audience all the way up to your high ticket offers with very little resistance. I've actually mapped out the next step of your sequence to bring your audience from low ticket to high ticket. I call it my infinite cash flow blueprint, and you can get that for free in the video description below.